Tonight, on the world's most amazing videos, a volcano erupts, burying a village under a sea of molten lava. Plus, when a crazy fan challenges a ferocious bull, the bull gets him in the end. And an apartment fire rages out of control, with terrified tenants still trapped inside. Plus, a police raid goes bad when a hand grenade blows up in an officer's pocket. And it's terror on the track when a dragster explodes at 300 miles an hour. These are the incredible true life stories of people who face their most desperate hour and live to tell about it. Everything you are about to see is real. Real people. Real danger, real excitement. Get ready to experience the thrill of a lifetime. You are about to witness the world's most amazing videos.
Santa Fe, Argentina. Following a head-on collision, a bus is plunged off a bridge and into a river. A salvage crew is called in to lift the massive vehicle out of the murky water. The men use a crane and heavy-duty cables to hoist the 14-ton bus back onto the bridge. The vehicle is slowly and carefully pulled upward. Then suddenly, an even bigger disaster. The bus sinks and rips the crane down with it. Take another look. The crane operator manages to lift the bus almost completely out of the water, but the hulking machine isn't able to support the tremendous weight of the flooded vehicle. The bus plunges back into the river and pulls the crane with it. It's impossible to imagine how the crane operator could survive the 30-foot plunge. Down below, more lives are in danger. The workers on this boat narrowly miss being crushed as the monstrous crane falls into the water. A few feet away in another boat, one man dives for his life. Incredibly, no one is injured. Just seconds before the crane fell, the operator jumped out and ran to safety. But he'll never forget the close call that almost sent him to a watery grave. Chicago, Illinois. A 10-story apartment building erupts into flames, sending panicked residents racing to the upper floors. More than 100 people are trapped.
Hey, the fire right under us! The fire under us!
The searing flames force one man to climb out a window and onto a drain pipe. Then suddenly, he plunges to the sidewalk below. Let's watch again as the man tries to hold on until firefighters can arrive with rescue ladders. But he loses his grip. He falls 75 feet to the ground, slamming into the concrete with crushing force. Incredibly, the man survives the terrifying fall. But 5 stories up, his family is still in danger.
Stay down, stay down! Oh, man! Pray ain't nobody hurt.
Firefighter Bill Heenan rushes to their aid, but there's a problem. Heenan's ladder isn't long enough to reach the victims. He calls down to his crew. Then Heenan looks up just in time to see a frightened 11-year-old girl jump. Somehow, he is able to catch her.
All I remember is seeing her dress above her head as she's coming down. I just stick my arm out and she lands right here. I'm like, oh man, I ain't gonna tell you what I said, but I got her, you know?
But the ordeal isn't over. The firefighter is struggling to keep his balance when the little girl panics and tries to wiggle out of his grasp.
And I'm like, oh man, I go, this ain't good, man. Wind's blowing about 40 miles an hour. This kid's reaching away from me, and I'm trying to get her into me. I'm screaming at her. turn around, grab me. I only had one arm and one leg on the ladder. And I'm like, come on, I can't hang on forever, you know?
Keenan manages to carry the girl to safety. The lives of other children and many elderly residents are still in danger. William Johnson and a friend videotaped the rescue effort from his 6th floor apartment.
A couple of people were like hanging halfway out of the window as if they were, you know, contemplating jumping. A lot of people were screaming, talking about they couldn't breathe.
The temperature inside the burning building soars to a white-hot 1,500 degrees. The courageous firefighters brave the intense heat and enter the upper floors.
219 and 273 on the scene of the plane.
Total blast. Keep this door. Do not close this door. No, don't close that door on him. This is the only thing I got. That's 606 right there.
People are still trapped in smoke-filled apartments.
Come on.
Because there aren't enough rescuers to get them out. So residents are recruited to help. One man struggles to reach the ladders. Meanwhile, William Johnson must find the courage to save himself and a 6-year-old girl.
It was pretty steep and high, and I'm afraid of heights, so I was really trying not to look down. And I was telling the little girl not to look down because I knew if she did, she would panic.
But William and the girl make it to safety. Meanwhile, firefighters battle heavy smoke and gusting wind in a desperate attempt to save more lives. But they overcome the odds, and dozens of others are rescued. This night of terror ends with tears of joy and prayers of thanks.
I don't know what happened there, and I don't know what kept us on that ladder, but it's got something to do with the guy upstairs, and it's all I care about, you know?
Memphis, Tennessee. It's the National Funny Car Semifinals. Defending champion John Force is strapped inside his Dragster. A 7,000 horsepower Mustang, burning nitromethane jet fuel. John and challenger Al Hoffman are at the starting line, and they're off. The men blaze down the asphalt at 300 miles an hour, when suddenly, John's Mustang veers off course. Smashing to a stop in a cloud of dust and debris. Look again at this devastating crash. Seconds into the race, John's engine explodes, engulfing the cockpit in flames and shredding the tires. His demolished Dragster careens across the track, nearly colliding with Hoffman's car. The chassis disintegrates as the high-performance racer slams into the guardrail at top speed. The mangled wreckage skids down the pavement, with John still trapped inside. And finally, overturns in the dirt. John's crew fears he is dead. But as the dust settles, there's a miraculous sight. He's alive. John's pit crew rushes to him as he kneels beside the charred vehicle. Remarkably, he suffers no serious injuries.
I was black and blue across my chest from the seat belts engaging me. I'm lucky the steering wheel didn't break my neck. And just by the grace of God, I'm alive today.
John recalls the frightening moment his Dragster burst into flames.
And all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. You might as well have stuck your head right in the fireplace at home.
John knew he had lost all control when his tires blew out.
Now I really got problems. The car comes around sideways at probably 290 miles an hour. I see Hoffman, I'm thinking I'm gonna T-bone him. In other words, I'm gonna drive him and I into the guardrail. I'm not only gonna kill myself, I'm gonna kill him.
Hoffman narrowly escapes death, but John didn't think that he would be so lucky.
For a fraction of a second, I honestly thought I was dead. The body exploded, the car exploded, the fuel tanks, parts went over the guardrail.
But his terrifying ride is far from over.
And I'm thinking, my God, I'm alive, but now I'm 300 miles an hour backwards. The next thing I know, I'm out off the racetrack, out into the field. The car's rolling over on its side, and I'm trying to get the seat belts. Thank God for seat belts.
To show his fans that he's okay, he takes a victory lap with his demolished car. John continues to race dragsters, well aware that each race could easily be his last.
When I say my prayers to the Lord right before I hit that throttle, I always say, just keep me alive for 5 seconds.
Because in this high-stakes game, 5 seconds can mean the difference between glory and death. Saragossa, Spain. A bullfighting festival goes bad when a crazy fan runs into the ring wearing a bright red shirt. The bull attacks. Let's watch again. The enraged animal charges the man and launches him through the air. He crashes to the ground. The horrified fan covers his face to protect himself as the ferocious beast moves in for the kill. But instead of going for the man's head, the bull aims a little lower. Luckily, other spectators distract the bull long enough for the man to escape with his life. But he leaves his pants and his dignity behind.
Coming up, a fishing village is rocked when a volcano erupts in a furious firestorm of molten lava. And a baseball player slams into the center field wall, face first. Then later, a neighborhood runs for cover when a car spins wildly out of control. Plus, a 2-story house is crushed when it barrels full force into a bridge. When the world's most amazing videos returns.
Green Bay, Wisconsin. A police SWAT team surrounds the home of a desperate man who is threatening to kill himself. Officer Michael Crabb is carrying a non-lethal weapon called a flashbang grenade. The police plan to use the explosive device to distract the suspect as they move in. But seconds after they enter the house, the cops come racing out. The home is filled with the odor of natural gas. Officer Crabb holds on to the grenade, fearing that one spark could blow the house to bits. The police take cover behind a truck, when suddenly, the dangerous weapon explodes in the officer's pocket, generating 2,000 degrees of searing heat. The SWAT team is stunned by the blast. Watch again. As Officer Crabb charges from the house, the grenade is in his right hand. He's already pulled the pin. If he lets go of the trigger, the grenade will go off. As Crabb crouches behind the truck, he jams the safety pin back into the weapon, but it malfunctions. The grenade explodes. 4 officers are temporarily blinded by the bright light. Crabb limps back to the truck, his uniform torn to shreds. He finally gives in to the excruciating pain and collapses to the ground. His fellow officers rush to his side and call for paramedics. Although Officer Crabb suffers second-degree burns, he survives the horrifying ordeal. The suspect who caused the standoff is apprehended and sent to jail. The tape of this explosive mishap is now used as a training tool by the Green Bay police. It proves that even when the most experienced officers do everything by the book, accidents can still happen. Heimaey, Iceland. This tiny nation is home to some of the most ferocious volcanoes on Earth. It's an island of extremes, where ice meets fire. Just before 2 o'clock, the fishing village is rocked by a violent eruption. A mile-long crack splits the island in 2. On the north side, the red-hot lava quickly reaches the sea. To the south, a river of fire heads straight toward town. Fountains of flaming lava force Smarty Hardison and his family out of their home.
The ground opened up and spilled a lot of really red lava high up to the mountain. The whole town, everything just went wet.
Within 2 hours, 5,000 people, many of them small children, are running for their lives. It's just a matter of time before their homes are destroyed. Their only hope now is to escape the island with the few possessions they can carry. The villagers head toward the harbor where 60 fishing boats are docked. The water is actually beginning to boil. They're about to take refuge on the trawlers when, in a flash, the onslaught of burning lava heads in a different direction.
Then the lava all of a sudden changed its course. It started heading for the harbor. Our lives here depend on this harbor.
Terrified townspeople can't save their homes from being swallowed up by the raging inferno. But there's still time to save the harbor, the lifeblood of their town. The odds are against them. Never before have men battled a volcano and won. Their only chance to stop the furious flow is to blast millions of gallons of water on the molten rock until it cools and hardens. Volunteers set up giant water pumps and connected to 19 miles of pipeline. As the wall of lava bears down on the harbor, the fearless fishermen prepare for the battle of their lives.
It felt like we had just returned from fighting a war. Except in this war, we were not fighting each other. We were fighting Mother Nature.
Miraculously, the plan works. The seawater cools down the 1,800-degree lava. Even more equipment is brought in, allowing 60 tons of water per minute to be blasted onto the smoldering rock. After working around the clock for days, the nightmare is finally over. The volcano is stopped dead in its tracks. The people have won. Today, the residents of Heimei have rebuilt their town on the ruins of the past.
There are houses under here and to the harbor. We are standing on top of houses.
But the beauty of the new homes can't hide the ugly reminder of the volcano's savage fury. The people of Heimei hope and pray that they'll never again have to face down this kind of hell on earth.
Now, an amazing video classic.
Portland, Oregon. At a minor league baseball game, the ball is driven to deep right field. And suddenly, disaster. Right fielder Rodney McRae crashes through the fence at full speed. A base runner scores. Then the cameraman quickly refocuses on the outfield. Rodney is still down and not moving. Let's take another look. Rodney chases the towering fly ball back to the warning track, but he slams into the wall face first. Rodney's teammate rushes in and peers through the opening in the smashed fence, fearing the worst. Incredibly, Rodney is okay.
My teammates are like kind of scared to come down there because they think I'm like dead. So I'm sitting there, I didn't want to panic. So I'm sitting there touching my forehead and my nose, my forehead, and like, okay, I just ran through a wall. Okay, and I'm like, okay, what day is it? Then here come the center fielder. He sticks his head through the wall like, dude, are you okay?
Rodney is amazed his injuries aren't more severe.
I just had a little abrasion. I bit my lip, had a little bruised shoulder. I don't know how, why, I didn't, didn't hurt myself real seriously.
A closer look reveals just how lucky Rodney is. As he barrels into the wall, He narrowly misses a beam that's just above his head. Rodney knows he came within inches of ending his baseball career.
Once in a while, you know, somebody who hasn't seen it, I show it to him, and to this day, I still flinch. I mean, from the sound effect. And I'm like, wow, I survived that.
Next up, a terrified woman is washed away when she's blasted by a massive wave. Plus, when robbers pick out the wrong store owner, he fights back in a hail of gunfire. Then, later, a motorcycle rider takes a terrifying plunge off a man-made mountain. When the world's most amazing videos returns.
Palm Beach, Florida. A ferocious Atlantic storm sends the biggest waves of the century crashing down on this sunny shore. Even the strongest swimmers keep a safe distance from the pounding surf for fear of being pulled under. But on this day, no distance is safe enough. Sheltered behind a concrete barrier, 70-year-old Hope Callback photographs the savage sea. Then, suddenly, a thundering wall of water smashes into her and washes her away. Let's watch again. As Hope snaps a picture, she is frozen with fear as the monstrous wave bears down on her. She turns to run, but it's too late. Hope is slammed by the treacherous tide and hurled across the street into a row of parked cars. It appears that Hope is lost. This horrifying incident is caught on home video by Jack Poling.
To this day, when I sit down and watch this tape, it still brings chills to my spine. It went from a sunny afternoon to sheer terror in a heartbeat. As I zoomed the camera out, all I saw was this massive wave that came over the seawall, almost as high as the palm trees in Palm Beach, which is, I mean, amazingly high, and just picked up Hope like a rag doll.
But Hope isn't the only one whose life is in danger. Jack's 3-month-old daughter, Kelsey, is trapped in the front seat of his car, and the passenger side window is wide open. Jack knows the next giant wave could sweep his baby out to sea.
If that had happened, Kelsey would have no chance.
As Jack struggles desperately to rescue his daughter, he fears that Hope is drowning beneath the 2 floating cars.
It's almost like 2 boats at a dock in a hurricane where they're banging up against each other. I was the person in the middle getting banged against. And Hope came underneath our car. I didn't know what happened to her. I absolutely feared for her life.
But then, the crushing wave subsides, and Jack manages to pull his daughter to safety. But where is Hope? Miraculously, she emerges unharmed from beneath the vehicles.
It was so huge, it was like a river coming down. I thought for sure I'd be able to run to the other side. I was not. This wave was quite enormous.
It was so powerful, it not only blasted Hope off her feet, it sent her shoe flying onto the roof of a car. Hope will always be thankful to have survived her confrontation with the awesome power of the sea.
I could have been killed. I could have been drowned. I could have gone out to sea. I think I probably do have a guardian angel.
San Diego, California. 2 young men try to purchase a bottle of wine at a convenience store. Security cameras record the transaction as the shopkeeper asks for proof of age. The clerk senses trouble. Suddenly, one of the men pulls a gun, and then his store erupts in a hail of gunfire. Watch again as owner Norman Mansour is fired on at point-blank range. Remarkably, he's not hit. But Norman reaches under the counter and pulls out a weapon of his own. The robber shoots wildly with his 9mm handgun. 14 shots are fired in just 13 seconds. Norman runs from behind the counter and chases the thieves out of the store and into the street. Amazingly, not a single one of the 14 bullets hits its target. No one is hurt. Norman was gambling with his life. Looking at the tape, prosecutor Victor Nunez discovers the fearless shopkeeper took a big chance when he confronted the brazen bandits.
The victim in that situation grabs the defendant's hand and pushes the handgun away from him.
But what could have prompted such a daring move?
Store owners just get upset at being abused and being robbed at and taken advantage of.
The suspects are convicted and sent to prison. And although he's put his life on the line, Norman Mansour is lucky to have fought back and won. Roseville, California. A crowded residential neighborhood is the scene of a bizarre turn of events. A sedan is spinning backwards out of control, and there's no one at the wheel. The car's owner started her vehicle with a screwdriver. When it unexpectedly shifted into reverse, she was startled and ran back into her house. Police are baffled as to why she left the car running in the middle of the street.
She didn't have a lot to say. She just told me that was her car and had about a half tank of gas in it, and she went back in the house. She wasn't too concerned.
Now it's up to the officers to stop the vehicle before innocent bystanders are harmed. But to play it safe, they decide to let the car run out of fuel, even if it takes all night. But then, after 20 terrifying minutes, a sudden brake. The car slams into the curb.
Slow it down.
It barrels backward into a row of garbage cans and parallel parks itself on the sidewalk. Police rush in and turn off the engine. Let's take another look. The car suddenly veers off and hits the curb. Then it careens into the trash cans, bringing an end to the dizzying dilemma. Thankfully, no one is hurt. And no charges are filed against the woman behind this reckless rampage.
Up next, a motorcycle rider loses his balance and plunges to the ground. Plus, a high-speed chase careens out of control on a crowded freeway. Then later, a man fights for his life after a brutal collision with a half-ton snowmobile. When the world's most amazing videos returns.
Madrid, Spain. Mark Colomé is competing in a dangerous European motorsport. The rules are simple. Ride a motorcycle to the top of this treacherous man-made waterfall without plunging to the ground. Here he goes. Mark makes it up to the first level, struggling to keep his balance. Now for the second plateau. Success. So far, Mark has a perfect score. He's got just one more level to go. But this is the steepest and the toughest to climb. It appears he's done it. But wait. Mark plummets down the mountain. Watch again from another angle. Mark's left foot slips and he topples backwards. He slams full force onto the rocks. then lands on his back and smashes his head against the wall. The crowd gasps in horror. Thankfully, the water absorbs the impact and the helmet protects his head. Mark gets up and walks away, but despite his terrifying fall, he vows to ride again. Granada Hills, California. An Arabian horse named Twister has slipped off a trail that's been washed out by heavy rains. When rescuers arrive, they are horrified to discover the rider is trapped. Sharon Varnes is pinned in a ditch under the horse's 1,000-pound body. She's alive, but in danger of being crushed by the frightened animal.
My right leg was trapped from the saddle. The weight of the saddle was on it, just above my knee. My left leg was trapped.
Another rider, Ardashur Radpour, comes to her aid. He fears that if the horse moves, Sharon will be speared by the saddle horn.
They could run the horn on the western saddle through Sharon. I was afraid of, that type of impaling happening.
Twister is struggling to breathe. The animal's lungs are being crushed. If the horse panics, Sharon could be killed. Members of a fire department rescue team try to soothe the terrified beast. But suddenly, the animal thrashes. It kicks wildly. Now Sharon is pushed even deeper into the ditch.
Sharon, okay? Take a big breath now.
Rescuers know they must move quickly to save both Sharon and the animal. But they need special equipment to lift the massive horse.
Well, you know we can use a lifeline. That could be about six pieces of webbing.
For us, it felt like forever. And it really scared us because we thought, anything's going to happen right now.
Somehow, Sharon manages to stay calm as a makeshift harness is rigged.
And get enough guys back there to get the weight up. And that horse will roll up like this. We can slide her out.
Rescue crewmen hope they can raise the animal just enough to pull Sharon to safety. But then, more trouble. Twister slips, cutting off Sharon's air supply.
It doesn't feel good when you lose your breath. You just have to know it's gonna stop. So I just hung in there and hoped it was soon.
Even though Sharon refuses to give up, the rescuers know they are running out of time. The men grab hold of the ropes and pull with all of their might.
Get her out of there quick. Get her out of there.
Rescuers help the dazed horse to its feet. Sharon is free. She struggles to stand.
It was like a heavy weight that had been pulled off me. It was like I could breathe again. It was like just the wind came up and it was a fresh breath of air.
Thanks to the skill and strength of these brave rescuers, both Sharon and Twister survive with no serious injuries. Twister is airlifted back to the stable while Sharon is rushed to the hospital. Thankful to be alive.
I think I have a second chance at life. I should have been dead, the horse should have been dead. I am completely lucky. I had a lot of guardian angels over me, taking care of me.
Huntington Beach, California. A stolen red sports car rockets down a crowded freeway in a police chase that has reached speeds of 100 miles per hour. Since officers have no chance to set up a roadblock, innocent lives are at risk. A patrol car closes in to attempt an extremely dangerous maneuver, ramming the vehicle from behind. But the suspect makes a desperate move to escape. The police strategy backfires, triggering a wild chain reaction. The impact spins the stolen car into a violent collision with a vehicle in the next lane, which then hits a third. Let's watch again as the stolen car careens out of control and slams into the other driver. Amazingly, no one is hurt. The pursuit continues as the suspect runs from the car, but his escape route is cut off. He's hit by the patrol car. Then a plainclothes officer tackles the suspect to the ground, and another officer helps subdue him. Now the police turn their attention back to the stolen sports car. The vehicle is still moving with the passenger inside and no one behind the wheel. This time, there's no chance for a getaway. The car thieves are convicted and sent to prison. They'll no longer be a threat to innocent drivers on the highway.
Coming up, a house is ripped from its foundation by a torrent of ice and snow in the most spectacular flood ever caught on tape. Plus, it's baptism by fire when a rookie firefighter gets an up-close look at hell on earth when the world's most amazing videos continues.
Eagle River, Wisconsin. A dozen racers roar into the first lap of the annual Snowmobile Derby. The 200 horsepower machines run at full throttle on a track of packed powder and solid ice. Veteran competitor Brad Pake is off to a rough start. He's trapped amid the other racers and approaching the most treacherous jump on the course. The race is close. Then suddenly, Brad is blinded by snow and flies off his sled. He recovers from his fall, but then disaster strikes. Watch again as Brad is thrown into the air and slams down in the middle of the race course. He struggles to his feet, but not in time to escape a 40-mile-an-hour direct hit from a runaway racer. Watch closely. The driver of this out-of-control snowmobile, Jesse Strag, was thrown from his sled just seconds before the crash. Now he's being brutally dragged as his massive machine slams into Brad. The impact from Jesse's snowmobile vaults Brad into a horrifying spin.
As the impact happened, his head smashed into the windshield and his body goes flailing up in the air. You know, I'm guessing his body was probably 10 feet above the ground.
Somehow, Brad manages to stand, but he is not out of danger yet. Dazed and injured, he staggers back into the path of oncoming snowmobiles.
My leg was burning. I didn't know if it was broke or just bruised. When you're in a situation like that, your adrenaline starts pumping and you just want to get out of there and survive the whole thing. It's very instinctive actions, I think.
Despite his injuries, Brad struggles to walk to an ambulance. He returns to racing, but he will always remember the frightening accident that could have put him on ice forever. Somerville, Massachusetts. An explosion rocks a residential neighborhood when a factory bursts into flames. First on the scene is off-duty firefighter Lieutenant Wallace McLean.
I looked down between the two neighbors' houses across the street, and there was the Beacon printing ink fire, flat as a pancake.
Fire companies arrive and deploy their equipment. When McLean calls the station for more gear, rookie Earl Johnson answers the phone.
He says, "Earl, we got a good one going on down here. Grab my gear and make your way down here."
By now, the blaze has become an 8-alarm fire. Fearing another explosion, battalion commanders and their men advance with caution. McLean, a veteran of 21 years, works alongside Johnson. This is the newcomer's first fire, and one he's not likely to forget. Johnson is on his knees directing a hose at the rear of the factory. McLean, in the black coat, is standing directly behind him.
I distinctly remember Lieutenant McLean coming over saying, "Earl, this is your first one. You gonna be all right?" And I turned to my right and I looked at him and I said, I'm fine. I'm on the nozzle, I'm fine. It doesn't get any better than this."
But then, an enormous explosion rips two nearby houses off their foundations. Johnson is launched 10 feet across the driveway.
Earl Johnson was laying face down on the driveway, the pavement. I wasn't too sure whether he was hurt or not, so I immediately wanted to get him out of the area to make sure he was safe.
McLean grabs the stunned rookie and leads him away from the fire. Then he checks Johnson for burns and injuries.
I was like, I'm fine, let's go back. The nozzle's flying around, Wally. Let's go back. We gotta go back.
Johnson returns to help his fellow firefighters put out the blaze. He survived his baptism by fire.
And he says to me, you're a rookie, but you're gonna be all right in this job. You're gonna be all right. Let's go. If that's where you wanna go, let's go. They're gonna have to pry my hands off the piece when it's time to retire. I love this job so much. It's unbelievable.
Now for the viewer video of the week, sent to us by Norman Webb and Ralph Anderson.
Wentworth Valley, Nova Scotia. A January thaw fills the Wallace River with huge slabs of ice that surge downstream with destructive power. The foundations of waterfront homes are flooded and in danger of giving way. But then...
Oh my God.
The ice flow sweeps an entire two-bedroom home into the river. No one can locate the owner, June Dix. There's little hope of rescuing the elderly woman. At any moment, the house could be torn to pieces by the jagged sheets of ice. But photographer Norman Webb knows that an even greater danger is waiting downstream.
We knew that the river was high, that there was no way, that it would get through the Howard Bridge without crashing into it.
If the house hits the bridge, there's little chance anyone inside could survive. But there's another problem. The cottage is sinking, and fast.
You're down to the eaves now.
Blocks of ice 2 feet thick crush the sides of the structure. If June is still inside, she has only seconds to get out alive. The raging rapids nearly engulf the house, when suddenly... the home slams into the bridge with ferocious force. The building is demolished by the deadly current.
It almost sounded like a paper house that was just being ripped to pieces. Like, it was hard to believe, that a structure that big would hit the bridge and at that speed.
The home and everything in it is reduced to a floating pile of debris. But moments after the disaster, there's a miraculous discovery. June Dix is alive. Just before her house was swept away, she managed to escape.
We asked someone if they had seen our cottage, and he said no, it had already gone by there.
June returns, but all that's left of her home is the foundation, and the memory of the day that she came face to face with nature's awesome fury.
I still want to cry when I think about it. You can't fathom how that could happen in the first place. Something that's been there for 19 years. And then all of a sudden it's gone.
If you have an amazing video, then we want to hear from you. Just send it to World's Most Amazing Videos, Post Office Box 933026, Los Angeles, California, 90093. If we use it, there's a cash reward waiting for you. So send your amazing videos today.
The World's Most Amazing Videos will return. Next on The World's Most Amazing Videos, a news crew runs for their lives from a killer avalanche. Plus, a drag racer careens off the track and bursts into a fireball of flames. And all bets are off when two heavyweight boxers take their fight out of the ring and into the streets. Plus, a military rocket explodes, raining fiery debris down from the sky. Next time on The World's Most Amazing Videos.